Hello, welcome to this Dawn Busters Challenge. Dawn Busters, 5:30 a.m. Central Standard Time, Saturday, January 20th, 2020. So we have the last of the taste challenges for the time being, which would be a long time, for the Northern Lights. Northern Lights. We're gonna put away those Northern Lights. All right, so look at the Northern Lights, you all. Oh, it's amazing. Maybe I'm amazed. All right, nice brown glass bottle with the diamond. The Transient Nightfall of Diamonds. 80 proof, no age statement, imported from Canada, introduced in 1968, bottled in Louisville, Kentucky by Barton Imports, which is part of Sazerac. Now, we have VO Gold Seagrams. Say, oh, Seagrams, they make good stuff. Well, Seagrams doesn't make anything because Seagrams is just a label today. It's a trademark. The company went out of business 20 years ago, exactly 20 years ago. Imported, aged, 8 years. The youngest whiskey in this bottle is 8 years old. It cost me $22.99. There's about 10% left, if that much. Seagram's VO Gold, owned by Sazerac Company since 2018. Seagram's VO is owned by the Sazerac Company since 2018. Seagram's 5 Crown whiskey, but not the Seagram 7 Crown. That's still owned by Diageo. So they split up the brands, like Seagram's Ginger Ale, owned by Coca-Cola. You know, you see the 12 packs of Seagram's Ginger Ale in the 2 liters. These are owned by Sazerac and others too. 83 whiskey. That's a Seagram's brand. Crown Royal, Seagram's Crown Royal would now just call Crown Royal, and the 7 Crown, and the flavored 7 Crown, the honey and the apple, and the other ones. There's more, I think, but they only show 3 on the website. Diageo, Seagram's Gin, and Distiller's Reserve Gin, and plus probably the other ones that they sell that they don't list on the website, but that's from Pernod Ricard these days. And Seagram's 100 Pipers. 100 Piper Scotch, Pernod Ricard. So that Seagram's company was dispersed like that whipped cream. There was a little bit left of whipped cream in the bottle, and I sprayed it today, and it just went everywhere. So I had to clean it up. It was dispersed like Seagram's. All right. And Seagram's was a company that had been going downhill for a long time, at least 11 years, but probably longer. But you just didn't know it. I guess people didn't perceive it until it went kaplooey. All right. Sazerac seems to be going strong. Seems to be. All right. I don't think it's going to be too much of a challenge because $9.99 bottle versus $22.99. You would assume the $22.99, and that's if you're lucky, you get it for that price. But you can do it. You can do it. You would assume it's going to win, right? Oh, JBD. I find the ownership consolidation of these alcohol companies fascinating. It really is fascinating. And it's funny that in the craft beer world, people freak out all the time, like, oh man, they sold out. I'm not buying their beers anymore, guys, after the buyout and all that. It's like, do these people not understand business? They look at the buyouts as though it's something new. Like, this is some new thing in the beer world, a buyout. No, that is not the exception to the rule. That's the norm, okay? It's been going on for hundreds of years. Companies buy each other out. That is not an unusual occurrence. I don't know why people think it is. Maybe because, and this is theory, not fact, but maybe a lot of people involved with craft beer, drinking, and tasting, they don't know a lot about business. or the history, really history of business. So to them, it seems so incredible that one company would own other companies or buy them out and consolidate. But in fact, that's the way it goes. I mean, it doesn't mean that the product's going to lose quality. And sometimes it means the product will gain quality because you'll be bought out by a company that has better quality control, more expertise, better distribution channels, better facilities, and the product may improve. I noticed that happened with Rolling Rock. To me, it got better after the Anheuser-Busch buyout. But, you know, when it's hard to talk to people like that, because many of them are dedicated to craft beer like it's a religion. And it could be the same with whiskey. Like they're on a great quest, like to prove something. I'm trying to prove, I don't know what they're trying to prove or what their great goal is. I'm not on a great quest. I'm just drinking them and telling you what I think about them. It's as simple as that. Exactly. I don't care if the Jack the Ripper owns the brewery. If the beer is good, I'll buy it. Right. Jack the Ripper. Okay, so this has a nice foil cap. I kept it because it makes the bottle look pretty because it's just like a bland plastic cap underneath. The power underneath, the power underneath, the power underneath, despair. Okay, so this is the Seagram's VO Gold. And I have enough for about probably 4 more taste challenges. I would assume that would be correct. I'm not buying any more of it. We can't just keep buying and buying, buying. And see, it has a ribbon. The old VO used to have a ribbon. VO had a ribbon, this is an actual cloth ribbon. But when this came out, they went to like a paper ribbon part of the label. You say they got cheap. Yeah. Well, they just applied the quality to that. And that was like a better version of VO. And VO was dropped from 86.6 proof, age 6 years, to 80 proof, no age statement. Have a lot of whiskeys been downgraded? Yes. I don't mean the quality's not there. When I say downgraded, I mean their proof was lowered and the age was lowered. Well, that seems like a downgrade, right? Canadian Club went from being a 6-year-old to 5-year. If you drop the aging a year, I don't see how the quality would go up. But you probably saying companies squeeze as much as they can and get away with it without losing their audience. And that's probably true. And a lot of it probably goes back to government regulation. You think the company's in a plot to make you angry. Companies are not in a plot to make you angry. They're in a plot to make money. So thanks, Jacob Downing. I appreciate that. A lot of these costs increase and quality decrease, like less aging, lower proof, comes from government regulation. But you think, oh, the government's there to help you. Okay. They didn't raise my tax, but they do raise your taxes in a practical sense because the regulations make the product cost more. So it's a backdoor tax. You see, it's a tax from the back side. They're still in your house. They came in through the back door instead of the front door. And people will go along with that, like, like why do cars cost so much compared to 40 years ago? And I'm talking about in real dollars, not just raw dollar, because you would have to take into account inflation. Technological increase, safety increases, all that. That's true. That's all part of it. But a lot of it is regulation. So regulation is a tax on you. The company isn't going to pay the tax. You're going to pay it. They're going to pass the cost on to you. So when these people running for office saying, we're going to tax the rich people, we're going to tax the rich people to help you. No. They're going to tax you because the cost is going to be passed on to you. You, Joe Sixpack, as the Clintons callously called you. You're going to bear the brunt. Now, enough preaching, because I know I'm right, and you know I'm right. I got to pour some more gold because I didn't pour enough. But if you fall for the scam, then go ahead. I don't know. I'm sorry. If you think that they're going to hit, they're going to tax Nabisco, they're going to show them, they're going to show Mondelez, us Nabisco. No, they're going to show you, because then you're going to be complaining because Oreos cost more. Yeah, because they taxed you, dumb. I don't want to say dumb. But come on, wise up. You want to be woke? They say on TV, I'm woke. I'm woke. Well, let's wake up then. But I mean, real woke, not. Yes, you're right. You're right. You're right. Generally, there's other factors you have to take into account. Well, pour too much. So I'm going to have to be careful with these. I'm going to sip on these for the next few hours. Although, thankfully, these are not big glasses. These little Diamore snifters. Nice alcohol eggs. They're both gold, so color won't matter. Gold and gold. But last night on Fandango Friday, oh, I had to be so careful. Oh, so very careful. Because why? I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. Because the skull rich gold was so pale in color. It's almost straw. It was like they didn't add any color into that. They put it in a barrel, let it set for a year or so, and then put it in, filtered it through some kind of charcoal blend, and then sent it to the Kentucky and they bottled it. Whereas the Ron Pontalba was obviously colored. It wouldn't be that dark after a year. But it didn't help it because Ron Pontalba is so inferior to the skull rich gold. Those are two rums, gold rums. So I paid $6.99 for each bottle. Would I ever buy it? I would never buy that Ron Pontalba again. It's not terrible. I'm not saying it tastes terrible, but it doesn't taste good, really. It's a C. You want to go buy some average? Why would you go buy something that's a C average when you could, for the same price, buy something that's literally good? Like good, not argumentatively good. You know what I mean? Arguably good, taking price into consideration. But I mean, actually good on its own merits, forgetting price. And skull rich gold is just a good gold rum. It's in the A range, A minus, but it tastes good. I enjoy it. I don't have to say, well, since I saved money, no, I don't have to do that. My friend David sent me these texts yesterday. Oh, I tried Clubhouse. No, I was about to say gin. I've had that. I reviewed it. Clubhouse whiskey. I said the blended. He couldn't remember. I know it was the blended though from International Market. $5.99 for a liter. $5.99. Cheapest whiskey in the world, right? I'm sorry, $6.99. $6.99. It was $5.99 at Savannah Discount, but he got it for $1 more. Still a great deal, great deal. And he was saying, "Oh, what a deal!" He said it's as good as Seagram 7 Crown. I said, "Hold on, don't go too far, Tony." I'm not, Mel. You are. I was like, no. I called him. I said, I'm not gonna say it's as good as 7 Crown. I like the Clubhouse from Heaven Hill Clubhouse blended American whiskey, but it ain't no 7 Crown. Sorry, Mr. David, can't go along with that. But you're going to save so much money. Now that's where you bring in the argument. Because you buy one bottle of 7 Crown, it's $12.97 at Walmart, regular size bottle. You could buy 2-liter bottles of Clubhouse, and it will cost you $13.98. Now that's where your value is, if assuming you like it. Now on to this. Smells like flavoring. You say, what do you mean? Artificial flavoring? No. This is not artificially flavored. It's naturally flavored. And no, it's not a scam by the companies where I see people on the internet saying natural flavoring. It's not really real. It is real. Okay. That's why they got natural and they got artificial. They're not the same. Read about it. Okay. It's like this guy I got into. He got so angry on Facebook. He was mad at me. He told me he was angry. I said, well, I'm sorry, you were wrong. Telling me that marijuana and alcohol was the same. I said, they're not the same. What are you talking about? Well, they're both drugs. I said, well, aspirin and penicillin are both drugs, but are they the same? He just kept going on and on. They're the same. They're the same. So I finally told him, I said, let me make this simple for you. Do I need to I can make it simpler because I'm a teacher. You know, I can kind of put it on more elementary level where he flew off the handle. Then he got so angry. Well, I'm sorry, but you know, intelligence plays a role in discussions of various topics, I think. So this is like the plum wine, the white rum. I think that's what they use. Maybe some blending sherry. Good morning, Ron. Oh boy, Northern Lights versus one of my favorite Canadian whiskeys. I was very impressed with the VO Gold. It's almost as good as the Canadian Club 12-year small batch. Almost, right? Not quite, not quite. Thanks, John and Neely. And then Jacob saying hey to you, and he's saying hey back. All right, so that I believe is the Northern Lights. A real winner, a real winner. That thing has been performing so far above its pay grade that it's almost mind-boggling. All right. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Well, this smells kind of like flavoring too. Yeah. Okay, well, I was so confident. All right, a little walnut, pecan oil, perhaps, plum wine, white rum, sherry. Boy, when you don't do a blind taste test, you just don't do it right. You don't do it right. I never picked these characteristics up on Seagram's VO Gold with its own merit on its in a solo. My daughter did a review with me. It's recorded. You can watch it. She loved it. You know, oh, it's so good. You know, she liked it so much. So, and I like it a lot. But now I'm having a little difficulty. Okay, I got it. This is the gold. It has flavorings, but it's not as pronounced. So it's more tamped down. Okay. Well, I got scared from it. All right. Sweet whiskey, corn whiskey. You know, Canadian whiskey's almost all corn with some wheat, perhaps, and rye. Almost assuredly, rye whiskey and barley whiskey. In Scotland, they would call that single malt whiskey. But yeah, barley malt whiskey, I guess you call it. Okay, so, but it's mostly corn, like bourbon. Canadian whiskey and bourbon, American bourbon is very close in many ways. Very close. Corn whiskey now. Even blended Scotch is mostly corn whiskey. Okay. So that one is soft. They're soft pedaling the flavors on that one. This one, I was going to say it's louder, but it's not louder. It's just more, oh, I can't figure it out how to describe it. It's like a deeper, more like sugary, not sugary, is sugary, not. It, man, to get on the internet and try to describe these things in words is so hard. You got to taste them. A blind taste is the only way to remove bias. I know, I try to tell that to this guy that was doing beer reviews all the time. He said he didn't see the value in it. Well, luckily he stopped doing reviews because I think he was clearly wrong. And he's like, it'd be like saying, I don't see the value in science. You don't see the value in science? Okay. I'm going to the store in a little bit. I'm going to try to find a bottle of Fairbanks cocktail sherry. No luck yet, but I think I know where I can get a bottle. If you could find out who distributes it in your area, if you could find out who is the distributor for Fairbanks cocktail sherry, then you've got it, because they can tell you right on the phone if they carry it or not. Probably not open on the weekends. So I've done that many times. Call the wine distributor. Hey, you got such and such? They'll either say, sorry, no, or it's at these stores. Now, maybe before I drive to the store, I'll call, but that's sometimes a waste of time because the clerks either don't care, most likely, or they don't know, probably, perhaps. They're not all going to do like me. If I'm working at a store and somebody calls me, I'm going to go find it. I'm going to go find out. I have a customer service oriented mentality, but that's me. That's not them necessarily. So, okay. Oh, Ooh, yeah, yeah. There's a lot of wood there. You say, what kind of wood, Mr. Powers? Oak. White oak, almost 100% sure of that. What about the char? Well, no, because they're usually aging these in spent barrels, meaning they've aged bourbon and then regular whiskey for years, and then they ship them to Canada. So that char has essentially died away. You could, I mean, it's charred theoretically, but it's used up. Like, you know, use a tea bag. You could use a tea bag, I guess, for 10 years. Well, it would probably fall apart. You know what I mean? 10 times, let's say 10 uses. But after the second use, you wouldn't get any flavor from it. Not really. So that's the same concept with the charred barrel. The bourbon has to be first run, whereas early times is second run. Okay? It is bourbon. Early times is bourbon in every way except for one consideration. It's aged in a used barrel, so it cannot technically be bourbon. Can you believe this Kentucky stuff? That's the law, and it's not a Kentucky law. It's a United States law. You know, we can't even get into the count room to watch our money. That's the law. All right. This is remarkably similar to the $22 bottle, though I have to admit that. So it's kind of disorienting when I'm doing this taste challenge. It's kind of confusing and disorienting. Like really, like sometimes you wake up and you're saying, where am I? Like you might, and you say, oh, I'm on a vacation at the hotel. Like you can't, or you're in bed and you wake up and you don't remember what side you're facing. So it's kind of like that with these. It throws you off, which I never expected. I never dreamed this would happen. I thought this was going to be just a sure shot, like Beastie Boys sure shot, you know. But it ain't. Too big of a sip. Ooh. Well, hey, but you live and you learn when the money is fiat currency anyway. Yes, that has been the case since 1965. And really, or you could say since 1933, but let's say 65 and for sure 1971, at least until 1971, the US dollar was backed up by gold reserves on the international market. But then remember, Nixon, who was a self-professed Keynesian, took the US dollar off the gold standard and let it float freely, and then it crashed. Remember, that's why the 1970s you had all this inflation, because the price of the dollar dropped, the value of the dollar dropped, because it wasn't connected to commodity anymore, commodity money. And so people were saying, and there was other factors too, you know, deficit spending and all that. But so that's been the case 49 years. Okay, but anyway, back to this. I really enjoy Early Times official whiskey at the Kentucky Derby and the mint juleps that they serve there. Huh. So they're using Early Times. Can you buy Early Times bottled and bond whiskey? Yep, it's a blue label. Blue it's a cobalt blue with gray and black. Beautiful bottle. 100 proof. You'll never find it on the website though. You'll never see it on their website, but I saw it on the store shelf. I could buy a bottle and prove it to you if I was looking to do that. All right. The VO Gold is better, all right? It's a better product. It just has a richer, more savory flavor, just like the VO. The VO's tricky now because when you first drink VO, you might be rushing around like, where's the flavor? Where's the flavor, y'all? And it might bypass you and you think it's dull. I did that. You know, I admit to it. But if you keep drinking VO, then the subtle flavors come in and you say, oh, I was too busy being a jerk to figure out the flavors. But if you could sit back and take some breaths and drink on it a few times, then you say, oh, yeah, it wasn't the whiskey, it was me. So the VO Gold is better. It's more crafted. The 8 years comes through. You can taste that wood throughout. the 8 years. See, now is it $13 a bottle better? That's for you to decide. You know, you have to try them and decide if you want to really pay $13 more per bottle. Would the Northern Lights be a decent substitute and save $13? Yes, it would be. If anybody says, oh, that's rot gut, that's trash, that's bad tub Canadian whiskey, and et cetera, I would just ignore that. I think they don't know what they're talking about, or they're just being hateful, trying to get attention on the internet or whatever. And beyond that, they're not drinking for you. Let them drink their own stuff. So, but I think the Northern Lights is well done. I don't. If it was trash, I'll tell you it was trash. If I thought it was trash, I don't hold back. If I drink something I think is terrible, I'm not going to say, well, it's all right. I'm going to say, no, it tastes terrible. Bottled and bond got to be 100 proof. Yes, that's right. There's some other regulations with bottled and bond. If you look on the United States Tax and Trade Bureau website, ttnb.gov, it has a whole paragraph explaining what does bottled and bond mean. It's very specific, and it's not confusing to read it at all. Very helpful. And that was a law that was adopted in 1897 to ensure, that was during the presidency of William McKinley, to ensure quality, because there was a lot of real questionable bourbons and whiskeys on the market made with all kind of dangerous chemicals and substitutes that weren't remotely whiskey. So bottled and bond is a quality insurance kind of thing. So not to say the free market couldn't control that. They could without government interference on it, actually. But this is a government law. They didn't ask me when they passed the law, since I wasn't born for another 71 years. Okay, I had to Google it weeks ago, and what I told you is what I think I remember. I think also the government got inspected facility. That's right. It has to be made in 2 seasons, either spring season or fall. There's 2 seasons for it. Well, you can read it. It's interesting. So if you buy bottled and bond, you got it. There's going to be quality there. And there's not going to be any like filler, you know what I'm saying? Like just unaged grain spirits, nothing like that. You're going to pay more, but then guess what? You get more. I just find 100 proof is a little much for me. 80 proof is better for me. You say you're weak. You're weak. Okay, I'll admit that. Do I look like I'm a big, strong person? Did you ever have that impression? Why would you have had that impression? Now, for my friend David, who's like twice my size, bottled and bond for him might be kind of weak. He might prefer 114 proof, like the 114 proof old granddad, something like that. But to me, that's just totally. I know a guy that drinks all these barrel proof whiskeys, but he's huge. He's kind of overweight, but he's like a big person regardless, even if he wasn't overweight. Well, to him, that's nothing, you know, but to me, I just like, it's like somebody drugged me, you know. I don't like to feel like I've been drugged, you know, or somebody put something, like the Ramones said, somebody put something in my drink, you know. So this is the 7 Crown, the VO Gold. So it better not say NL when I look. If I look at this label and it says Northern Lights NL, I'm gonna cry. Nah, I got it. Haha. I've only gotten it wrong once. I did all of these taste challenges with Northern Lights, all of them, and I only got it wrong one time. And that was because the one that it was going against was a Sazerac brand that was nearly identical, nearly, not totally. So, but so I feel very confident. The Northern Lights is a winner. I'd recommend it. I mean, I wouldn't go searching for it or anything, but if you happen to see it on the shelf and it's $9.99, buy it. I think you should buy it. Now, that puts Canadian whiskey to rest for the time being, a few months, at least a few months. Maybe in the spring or something, we'll get back to it. But right now, starting tomorrow, get ready. Strap it down, settle back, because we're going to start with Scotch whiskey, blended Scotch. We have Johnny Walker Red Label versus everybody else that I own. And that is going to be a major war. And I think Johnny Walker Red is going to just perform so well. Okay, I got to get off this. 100. Okay, Evan Williams Bottle and Bond and Christian Brothers Bottle and Bond. Oh yeah, the brandy are two of the best bottle and bond products that I've ever had the pleasure of trying. Yeah, same here. Oh no, I never had Evan Williams Bottle and Bond, but I had the old granddad bottle of them. Did you? You did it. You did it. Ah, the taste of victory. Right. Thanks, Joe Biden's country. I did it. I'm the champion, my friends. And now I bid you goodbye.